The system of Prometheus, a binary star system located in the Delphic Expanse. Colonized in 1450 human diaspora, it is now home to the Colonial Authority, which established colonies in the system pursuant to the Articles of Colonization. 7 planets orbit the primary star, 3 gas giants and 4 terrestrial, of which 2 were selected for colonization due to their rare Earth-like characteristics. Prometheus Colony was the first, established in 1450, and is home to the administrative and manufacturing apparatus of the colonies, while Lionel, established in 1453, hosts various academic institutes and acts as the naval headquarters of the Prometheus system navy. 7 more planets orbit the secondary star, with 5 terrestrial and 2 gas giants. The last colony to be established in 1459, Centaur, features a far less generous geography to that of Lionel and Prometheus, and as such its industrial capacity is limited and population far lower. The Colonial Authority has now authorized the exploration of nearby star systems after 50 years of in-system colonization. This has come as a result of a dissipating galactic storm which isolated the system from the rest of humanity until now. The PSN Halcyon is the first ship to leave the system.
Commencing jump in 1, 2, 3. Jump success. Debris incoming, attempting evasive maneuvers.
The Halcyon has entered the system of Manticore, its engines disabled due to the debris field. The captain of the ship, Gerald Buran, orders immediate repairs and a scan of the system to determine what they have encountered. The scan reveals a wreck orbiting the nearest planet, which appears to match colony identification signatures. Once repaired, the captain orders for the Halcyon to investigate closer. Hello and welcome to Aurora 4X. It has been over a year since there was last a series on this channel, and I'm happy to be back. And I'm happy to also be back in a place where I'm able to create a story that I think will be really hopefully compelling, interesting, and following a faction or a nation state that both has parallels to a lot of lore and media I like, but also is just enjoyable and you guys can kind of get immersed into a little bit. So, where are we, what are we, and what is the situation? Well, we are in Prometheus, as the intro showed. I hope it gave you a little bit of that introduction so you can understand where we're at. What are we? Well, we are the Colonial Authority of Prometheus, which is basically a precursor to a real nation state. We are made up of 3 different colonies, as the intro said, that being Prometheus, Lionel, and Centaur, with a population of about 625 million people. Across these planets, we have different specializations. On Prometheus, we have 200 construction factories, and most of our industry, including our shipyards. This is where we'll be building our ships. This is where we will be building our missiles, our ordnance, most of our fuel, not our fuel actually, our fuel's on Lionel, but a lot of our other supplies and things like that. Currently on Prometheus, we'll be building construction factories and missiles because we need to deal with one of the biggest issues that we currently have. That is, we have a low population, 625 million people, but we have a lot of resources available to us. Prometheus has a ton of minerals. Lionel has a ton of minerals. We have comets. We have a relatively big system. These are all things that are really going to help us out in terms of colonization. However, to be able to access them, we need more people to work jobs to increase the economy. That is going to mean we need to make that a priority. So that's what Prometheus is. Lionel, on the other hand, is our research basin, where research and construction rate as our primary focus, and then a bunch of other technologies right now to help develop our scientists, make them better, and make them do their job, or train them up in their jobs. In terms of ships and ship building, I have ordered for Prometheus to begin, or at least not now, or at least it should be. Prometheus will begin building more commercial vessels because we're going to need more commercial vessels if we are to, well, continue to expand. Lionel is producing infrastructure with the construction factories it has. Prometheus is producing, obviously, construction factories. Centaur does not yet have industry to be able to do what it needs to do, so we're keeping it where it is. And that's kind of our economic situation and what we'll be carrying forward. So my priorities are probably going to be colonize as much as I can to grow our population and then continue to build our industry. In terms of the tools that we have that allow us to do things or make us able to do those things, let's have a look at our naval shipping. So we have 4 destroyers in our navy. In the kind of lore, the story or whatnot, these are destroyers that were bought before the colony ships first arrived. These were bought in advance for the system, and the purpose of them was to defend the colony from pirates and other human settlers who might want to get there first and stake their claim. So 4 of those ships we currently own. They are the Aurora class. They feature pretty slow speed. Obviously, they're quite low tech, but good shielding, relatively good laser weapons, has some missile capability, has enough sensors, capable of jumping. Really, it's just there for system defense. We don't really have a proper navy, but this is our system navy. This is what defends the local system right now. Next, we have our survey vessels. These are cheap. These are not frivolous, and they achieve one job and one job only, and that is surveying the stars. Now, the PSN Halcyon, as seen in the intro, was damaged entering the system of Manticore, which we can go have a look at here. The Halcyon, located at the jump point right now, is currently busy attempting to repair its systems. Currently, we've got the geological survey sensors, which are priorities to get them repaired. Without them, we can't actually do any surveying. We are going to dispatch this shipload straight to Manticore A1, which Manticore A1 we have found thanks to the Halcyon's sacrifice to jump through the Prometheus system and clear its way of the debris, and both clear its way and also find a way through that debris. There is a wreck, a similar sized wreck to that of an Aurora class destroyer, which appears to be colonial in nature. So we're going to head over to there and begin geologically surveying. And then we're going to get the rest of the survey ships to also begin both exploring Manticore and going to explore other systems. Hopefully there isn't any threats, but if there are, we always have our destroyers to come and help us out. In terms of some of the other economic things that we're currently dealing with, we do have also mining stations already on these comments, of course, which we can continue to expand, but we also have fuel harvesting on the gas giant of Andesite, which is also really interesting. So what we're going to start off with is let's get some good old-fashioned exploration underway. Obviously, Aurora would not be Aurora without honestly my favorite part of the game. And my favorite part of the game is exploring new systems, figuring out new worlds and ways to exploit those systems, and just kind of, the joy of essentially getting a loot box, which is, do you get lucky or do you get unlucky on your system generation? So that's going to be a very, very interesting time is all I'll say. So we're going to dispatch the PSN Tornado to the second jump point, the PSN Monsoon to the second jump point, the PSN Hurricane to the second jump point, and the PSN Hailstorm to the second jump point. Unfortunately, Prometheus is only blessed with 2 jump points. These 2 jump points are pretty different in terms of their distance from the star. The second jump point is about 4.7 billion kilometers away, while the first jump point is only about 1.8 billion kilometers away. So pretty close in all things considered. So let's go ahead and begin our incrementation. It has been a while and I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Let's get in. All right, replenishment groups finish up their orders. This is something that in future I'll probably be handling more off screen, but there's gonna be a lot of things that I'll handle somewhat off screen that are not impactful, such as essentially thinking them as busy work, logistics, all that kind of stuff. Let me know how much you guys want me to include in the videos. I'm going to try and keep the videos close to 30 minutes, but one of these things, as you may notice here, is setting up these replenishment groups, which are basically tankers to transport fuel. So we're going to go over to the fuel station group 1. We're going to go to refuel from stationary tankers, and then we're going to input a order delay in seconds in for every half a year. We will transfer colony from our fuel from our fuel stations in orbit of Andesite back over to Prometheus. Let's go back to Manticore. Let's figure out what's going on in Manticore right now. So we are beginning to survey. Now, interesting about the system of Manticore, if we go have a look at the system information, we have a ton of asteroids, approximately 570 asteroids in system. If we go ahead and turn asteroids on, which should be over here, you can see that they're surrounding both of these stars. Now, that could be very, very promising for orbital mining, assuming the rest of the system doesn't have any other issues. Now, the Halcyon doesn't appear to be getting its repairs done, probably because it's run out of maintenance supply. So we're going to send that back to Prometheus, and we're going to have it refuel, resupply, and then head back to Manticore. It can also report on the situation that occurred and can tell us, what else is on Manticore A1 once it's back. Now, luckily, it seems that there are no aliens in the system, so we don't really know what caused the wreck, but we are going to continue to explore. So let's continue our incrementation onwards. Okay, the system of Basilisk has been discovered. That is a very interesting system. So we have 4 stars with no planets and no comets, no nothing. It's just a quaternary star system. Just saying that we have a 3 T2 star, or 3 T-class stars, 1 L-class star. These things are not like, you can't even calculate the luminosity. They're tiny. These stars are, that's ridiculous. I've never seen a star with a mass of 0.034 and diameter of 0.167 with 0 luminosity. That is crazy. Okay, well, that's a very interesting system, and our ships will be going on to have a look at it and survey it. Well, survey the survey locations more appropriately. Let's head back over to Manticore, of course, where all of the fun stuff is happening, as our ships continue to survey the asteroids. I would like to have the Hailstorm redirect from surveying the asteroids and actually start to survey the planets, please, because it's kind of important. We are playing at 25% research speed, 25% survey speed, and 25% terraforming speed. If you want to know more about the settings, you can go ahead and have a look at them in the description, as well as the save game if you want to play along as well. The Halcyon is back in system, and yeah, we're going to continue to increment forward here. We will be starting to produce infrastructure here on Lionel, and we'll need a place to ship that infrastructure to. So let's have a look at some colonies we can start to establish within Prometheus on moons and whatnot to help grow our population. Lantern, immediately. Moon-like place right above Prometheus, definitely going to be colonizing that. Ares, a massive moon in orbit of Draconis. It's almost the size of Earth, though it is tidally locked, of course. Not that far from being colonizable if we were able to terraform, so definitely going to be colonizing that one as well. On the second star, on Prometheus B, we're definitely going to be looking at Goliath. About same colony cost as like a Mars, for example. Aphrodite with a 2.0 colony cost, and Armageddon as well. Freedom has some good minerals, but it's going to take a lot more effort to colonize because of the colony cost associated. And then all the other bodies in over there don't really seem to be all that useful. So let's start shipping some infrastructure to some places. I'll start doing that probably at the end of the year, once we actually have a decent stockpile of infrastructure. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like that good of an idea. So continuing to survey. And we have finished up our survey of Manticore. And it appears, ladies and gentlemen, there is a ruined civilization construct on Manticore A1. What those ruins are, I'm sure we'll find out more about in the future. But clearly, this is a very important planet, very important population. Now, one thing I have realized that I don't have access to, because I am not the smartest, well, not that I'm the smartest, but also something that the civilization just wouldn't have a need for yet, is jump stabilization capability. So what we're going to do is we're going to go head over to logistics. I'm going to cancel this project. I'm going to go over here, not logistics. I'm looking for construction and production. And I'm going to assign up someone to begin research into small jump stabilization modules, so that we can start to look at stabilizing we start to look at stabilizing our jump points for our eventual civilians, which have not actually yet appeared. And I'm going to assign another 5 research laboratories to that as well. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And we're going to continue to increment forward as we continue our surveying of the system. It doesn't appear like there's any minerals on that world though, but there is quite a few small moons, which is quite interesting. But yeah, we'll definitely look at colonizing that, even if it is a bit of a frozen tundra. A frozen void even, because there isn't even atmosphere on that planet. Oh, God's sakes. One of our power and propulsion scientists just decided to get rid of himself, and by that I mean he died, leaving us no power and propulsion scientists. So we're going to have to do this cool thing of switching someone over from a job. Let's take Mr. Trinidad Ratanay. You are going to be... what kind of name is that, to be honest? You're going to be switched over to power and propulsion. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's have you continue research into new engine technologies. All right, surveying is going okay. We've discovered a new system in Basilisk. Well, not a new system, a new jump point in Basilisk. Is there only seriously one jump point? That's crazy. Something that I'm very quickly realizing though is that we're going to be needing new survey vessels. So I'm going to order immediately for 2 new surveys to be built, the PSN Simoon and the PSN Whirlwind. In terms of infrastructure, well, how much infrastructure we currently have, 263 here on Prometheus, which is good to see. We're going to wait actually for civilians to appear before I start colonizing other places. They should appear within about a year or so. And then we can start to go from there. So let's have the tornado enter the system, and let's have, yeah, the rest of them are fine there. We can have the monsoon as well. We'll go to the next system. Okay, the system of Endicott, which appears to be a binary star system. Yep, looks like it. The inner system appears to have actual stuff on it. 6 planets and 11 moons, 1 near habitable world. Looks like a ice field, an ice field with a nitrogen oxygen atmosphere, though very little oxygen and quite a lot of carbon dioxide. And then we have another terrestrial, which is nitrogen methane. We have a gas giant, 2 gas giants, a terrestrial world, a dwarf planet, which even has a moon, and it's quite big for a dwarf planet. And that's it for in the system. Very interesting. Far more interesting than Basilisk, which came before it. And it looks like, I think, we just got our first civilians. Let's go have a look at that one. Prometheus. Yes, we do. We have our first civilians actually beginning to do stuff, which is very, very nice to see. So with that, we're going to begin to transport infrastructure to colonies. So we will grab the infrastructure we have over here on Lionel using one of our cargo groups, which very slow. Again, we are playing very low tech. This is nuclear thermal tech. This is the second tech. You get access to second engine technology, so it is very, very low down on the rung of things. And we are going to immediately begin dropping that stuff off over at Lantern itself. Yep, so we're going to go ahead and have that drop off those installations. So drill that infrastructure and then refuel. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and drop as much of I would say, so for reference, 10 infrastructure is carried by 25,000 tons of cargo space. We have 150,000 tons of cargo space, which means we transport 60 infrastructure per run. And so we will do this for 3 trips to begin with. And then bring that back just because it's so close in terms of actually where we're transporting stuff to and from. That actually it's not that close when we think about it, because we do have to bring stuff from Lionel to Prometheus, because we're talking about here the moon of Prometheus. So the moon of Prometheus, Lantern, which if it will let me slap onto Prometheus there we go, we can see it. Let's turn on moon orbit. So Lantern is currently in orbit over Prometheus, about 328,000 kilometers. And we also now have obviously the first colony ships and stuff doing their thing. So let's continue to increment along as our cargo ships go and deliver those supplies from Lionel and over to Prometheus. The Hurricane finished up the exploration in Basilisk and did actually uncover a third jump point. So we're going to go ahead and have the Hurricane go and explore that jump point for us and see if we can find anything. Wow, another very large system here. Looks like the inner star seems to be relatively populated. In fact, that is pretty massively populated. San Martin, I see a coniferous forest there with a liquid of 95%. We have a total of 8 planets. We have the 2 terrestrial, 1 that is insanely hot. That's 3,300 degrees. And then another Venusian, 1,503 degrees. We have San Martin A3, A4. So more Venusian worlds and more barren worlds. Then we have the 5th planet, which is in the habitable range. Its pressure is barely acceptable. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, barely acceptable. It's got nearly 3 atmospheres worth of nitrogen in it. It would just need to have more of the oxygen taken out. Its gravity is nearly to the point where humans would not be able to habitate it. It's got a diameter of 2,700 kilometers, which is literally like more than double the size of Earth. Its max population is only 9 billion, but that's because it's got a 95% liquid atmosphere. Not liquid atmosphere, a hydrosphere, which is crazy, which means it's actually reducing that max population size. What kind of other habitability characteristics does it have? Orbits every 2.32 Earth years. Interesting. It's got a pretty eccentric orbit, but it doesn't appear to have that big of an impact on in terms of colonization. And its days last 3.3 days each. So very, very interesting. And then it does have some moons, though none of them are too important. If that place has actually good stuff on it, like, good colonization and other good resources, then that would actually be a very big consideration. Hopefully there's no aliens on it, I'll say that to start with. We would just have to bring back the nitrogen a bit and put in a little bit more oxygen, put in at least 0.1 atmospheres, and that would be, it would be a habitable world just sitting right there, which is pretty incredible. Very, very cool system. That is very, very, very cool system. Well, let's see if there is anything actually in system that we need to worry about. So we're gonna have the Hurricane head over. I would like the Hurricane, please, can you focus on actually going to the planet? So it's number 5, I believe. Yes, go over to there. In terms of Manticore itself, which is obviously the system of current big interest. Yes, current big interest. Do we have any actual minerals in this system, or is there nothing at all? Let's have a look. Some asteroids with a lot of minerals. I mean, that is really nice. As we can see here, yeah, a lot of these asteroids have a lot of minerals on them. We can actually take a look at that really quick by going to here and doing asteroids all minerals. Diameters are a bit all over the place in terms of actually being able to mine from them, but overall, pretty damn nice. I'll say that. So that's really good to see. Okay, definitely will be handling that in the future. Also, I'm just going to continue to get more infrastructure and move from Lionel over to different places within the system. Let's start moving some over to Aphrodite as well. And we will get 6 of those repeat orders, which will take quite a bit of time due to our slow speed. Go to increment along. And let's go back over to San Martin. And hopefully we don't have any issues, though we might. So 3-hour increments abode. And it doesn't appear that there are aliens on San Martin A5. So that is a massive find. And with just a little bit of terraforming, that world would very quickly become pretty bloody impactful. We are quite slow on actually getting our survey efforts going, though, so we need to really start pumping those up. I'm going to add an additional slipway over to the Lionel shipyard because we need that pronto. And our first colonists have arrived over on the moon of Prometheus, so we're going to begin to automate and get a governor assigned over to there, which isn't too much of an issue, so that's nice to see. Let's continue to increment along. There we go. We've got another freighter built and assigned. We're going to go ahead and order another one as well, because we're going to need a third cargo group to begin shipping installations, or more appropriately infrastructure around the system. We can go ahead and have a look at Prometheus now. Currently, the colony, we have 4 civilians, or 4 civilian ships. Lantern just hit 500,000 population, which is great to see. And as we can see, they're going to grow at 10.5%. We've already gained 25 million people, and that's because colonial growth rates are going to be higher than Earth would be. And our research is continuing underway as well. So that should be the infrastructure delivered. So that can support 1.2 million people. Yes, it can, which is good to see. So I'm going to leave it like that because I don't want to... I want to have our civilians handle the actual movement of installations. Where are they coming from primarily? Yeah, so Prometheus, and then they're also dropping off to different places as well. Okay, let's head back over to Manticore as they continue their geological survey of the asteroids. Let's head over to San Martin, which is again looking very, very interesting. We're quite a bit ways out still of the survey of San Martin, but whatever we do find there is going to be pretty massive, I imagine. Well, hopefully it's going to be pretty massive, because that kind of makes or breaks the situation there, as all things early game into Aurora do. Let's go have a look at the galactic map situation right now. So as we can see here, Basilisk has the connection over to San Martin, which is a really important connection. And Prometheus is situated here with Manticore on the other side. So let's continue to increment further forward as we get closer to seeing what San Martin is hiding away. Okay, so we've finished the survey. It's now an archipelago world because it's been moving around. And it does have a temperature factor issue. Is this so eccentric that its temperature is going to change that rapidly? Okay, let me calculate this. Let's create a colony there. And let's have a look at that. Okay, so San Martin A5 environment. So the maximum temperature is 56 degrees. Okay. The minimum temperature is minus 12 degrees. Okay. And for reference, a safe temperature for humans is between minus 10 and 38 degrees. So that does present a discrepancy of how the hell do you make that world how the hell do you make that world colonizable fully with those issues, right? Because if we add in greenhouse gas to warm it up, then it's going to be too warm at the top. And if we don't add in greenhouse gas and add in anti-greenhouse gas, it's going to be too cold. So this is a very strange place. In terms of resources, nothing very useful. Definitely a cool world. Because of the eccentricness, which is 0.23, I'm not sure we're going to be able to make good use of it. Just because of how big the difference is on each side of its orbit. I mean, if we have a look here, from the start, at its apoapsis is 320 million kilometers. At its periapsis, it's 200. That's really, really far apart. So I'm not sure how useful this place is going to be, to be honest. But we'll obviously continue to survey on. So something else that I want to go ahead and have a look at while we're continuing to grow ourselves slowly here in the early game, as we build more installations, more construction factories, more of everything to really have things start going, because again, we're in here for the long haul, is ground forces, because I haven't gone over that. These ground forces are representative of the planetary guards that we have on the planet. These were brought with the colonial forces as part of the purchase of those destroyers. And they are basically just infantry divisions, brigade combat teams, army corps. They're based off the US Army kind of thing. Very basic. It's about 1.2 million tons of ground forces total. And there isn't much more than that. They are just there to help give a basis for a ground army and kind of hold the main planets just in case anything does happen, of course. Okay, so it looks like Line Lord's managing its construction rate pretty good. So we're going to continue to take infrastructure, bring that over to Lantern and make that a regular thing, because I really want to get Lantern growing as much as possible. Just like you would get the moon growing in an Aurora game quickly, you also kind of want to do that as well for any of these like small moons around some of your planets. We just completed building a bunch more missiles, which we'll continue to stockpile. I'm going to build 250 more, and I'll call it a day at that, because again, there's no enemies right now. Why would we need missiles? Though it is very concerning about the situation over in Manticore, which with the wreck, which don't really have any way to interact with right now. We did finish up the survey of the system. So we can go ahead and have a look. The planets don't appear to have anything, but these asteroids have a ton of resources. We can, again, have a look at that over here. Both at the comets, which have a ton of resources, which we will definitely be taking an interest in, and all of the asteroids. There should be this asteroid here, which has a diameter of nearly 500 kilometers and has a ton of resources. And then all of these asteroids as well, which we can continue to extract resources from, which I do like to do where possible. I find astro mining and orbital mining genuinely the best, because it's all about getting the resources now than later, so you can actually get the snowball effect, you know, in a 4X game going. So even if it does take some more effort there, it's generally always kind of worth it in my opinion. All right, the another Alpha Yorgay cargo ship was created. We are currently waiting on our research, of course. We nearly got our next construction rates, and in terms of colonization, we are doing okay. We have got Lantern Centaur. Aphrodite has got colonists on it, or not colonists, but infrastructure on it, though colony ships have not gone over, so we're definitely going to order for that to begin, so that we get people over there and settled. But I think that is where I will be leaving things off. Very short starter episode, not much in here for now, and that's because I just want to give you guys a base, get you guys just acclimatized to the fact that we're back in Aurora. I myself need to get used to it. There's a lot that needs to happen. There's a lot of planning, a lot of ideas. Put those in the description and tell me how you like both some of the changes, some of the format changes, what you're looking forward to, and what you want to see in this new series. And again, if you got any questions, put them in the description below, and or put them in the comments below. And in the description below is all the information about the series as well. I'll see you guys next time. A special thanks to everyone who supported the channel and is still here watching today. Thank you.